Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder, to the M3 Bradley. And this is now the infantry fighting vehicles for the Americans at battle rating 8.0. And what should I tell you? I in general am a fan of infantry fighting vehicles if I just want to have fun. Not looking at balance, not looking at anything like the difference between the nations. Those are some funny things to enjoy your time in. And fun is here something that I want to focus on. And in this case, this tank is a little bit of a personal tragedy for me. I had fun in the Warrior, in the BMP2, also in the Type 89 that I just recently drove around, and that includes also such strange tanks as the Begleitpanzer or the RE251, and many other tanks such as the Super Hellcat and Hellcat. I know a lot about how to use them in battle effectively, ambushing, flanking wide, scouting for your team, and communicating with your team, being that one that cleans up the flank and gives your heavy tanks and medium tanks in more the center of the map more survivability, where they then can focus more on the things ahead of them and even helping later out them there. The second thing is also in brawling situations or where you have to make a play to clean a capture zone, I think mobility is king. Handling in particular is very important, and to have reliable weapon systems. Tanks that don't have reliable weapon systems are an absolute enemy of fun, in my opinion. And this is why I had such a massive hatred in the beginning versus the Leopard 1. Where the gun didn't hit, where the APDS did no post-penetration damage effect and just very often simply disappeared or didn't do the penetration itself. A lot of those things and issues have been addressed by Gaijin, and so again, this is one of those tanks that promised to me being fun, especially again with my experience in the Warrior, the BMP2, to name here some recent additions. Again, also the Type 89, I just had a few matches in it. It's fun, and it is very good in its handling. For such an infantry fighting vehicle, there are actually 4 fundamental parts: scouting, mobility with repositioning, ATGMs, and overall situational awareness. And all this has to be a symphony of the tank and the player playing it. So this is now a very strange introduction, I know. And now I come to the 2 issues that are associated with this tank and where I can't wrap my head around it, what's going on. The first thing is mobility. The mobility is strange. Now, you have a horsepower to ton ratio of above 25 horsepower per ton. That is certainly not bad. Top speed 66 km per hour, okay. Reverse speed around -12 km per hour, that's not really impressive, but it is not the worst in direct comparison. And so I was really confused when really there was always this low speed handling and the neutral steering didn't work, but the tank insisted at lower speeds turning to go back into neutral steering, and then the tracks moved the opposite way as you would expect, and then at some point stopped rotating counterpartish or anti-parallel to each other. It's really weird. And then the acceleration, it's sluggish, slow, so it behaves more like a tank that I would expect from having 15 horsepower per ton. But the faster you go, the more engine power you seem to have, or the better transmission does work. That's really confusing for me. Maybe I'm going here a little bit too much into detail here. So at higher speeds, the vehicle performs well and you actually don't really notice the trouble. But in a brawling situation, in situations close quarters in particular, the vehicle lets you down massively. And the next thing is the ATGMs. I think this is where too much historical accuracy again is a massive hindrance for this tank. See, do you see those 2 rocket launchers here on top? You actually have overall 12 ATGMs. That's a lot. And you have a double launcher. So if the first ATGM doesn't really work, you can fire a second one and further disable or destroy the enemy vessel that you're attacking. So this is great. And then a 25mm autocannon that is very similar to the Warrior and to the BMP2 in overall performance, very roughly seen compared to a normal tank gun. Decent penetration, decent okayish stock belt, so nothing really wrong with this tank. But then you drive and this gets just, the ATGMs are not accessible to fire. They're not available up until you stop, and then they deploy again. And then it takes somewhere between 6 to 7 seconds from getting to a standstill and the system reacting to deploying the ATGM launchers, where you then can fire the ATGMs. That is an entire normal average tank reload at this battle rating. That is very bad in a brawling situation if you can't handle the enemy tank with your main gun. And I think at this battle rating a lot of tanks stop having muzzle brakes, which allow you to more consistently take out their gun barrels, to buy yourself the time to either disengage or wait for the ATGMs to deploy. And then you are hard countered by the fact that now the Italians are there and you really feel the competition. To not then have an immediately available ATGM launcher, such as the Warrior, the BMP2, hell, even the Big Leitpanzer, the Type 89 and so forth, where they can fire at full speed, whereas you are limited to just a few kilometers per hour before the speed indicator goes red and they get redeployed. So this is really strange and a massive hindrance for the tank. I don't know what to think about this, but from a gameplay perspective, that is horrible. That is destroying the tank, and I have died numerous times to it. And the only thing where this tank actually excels is at camping, scouting, and firing the ATGMs away at enemies that don't expect it. But then again, do you really need this tank for doing this? If you go for hardcore camping, there are even better tanks throughout the nations, throughout the battle ratings. I need mobility, and if the mobility is not working together with the firepower, that is a big drawback for this tank. It's not all bad, and I can show you where it works, and this is what I want to do right now. So let's hop into the battle and let's watch some battle scenes. And yeah, let's see what we can actually achieve with this mixture of not so great handling and the trouble with the ATGMs. And now, ladies and gentlemen, some gameplay. So here I was just preoccupied with a BMP2 and I was behind enemy lines. I cleaned up already 3 kills, and then an Object 120 punishes me here with the APFSDS. He could have finished it here with Heat FS, and now watch this. Yeah, that was actually an ATGM that bounced. So much for my luck. Then there is this scene, and there you can see another topic, that one of the ATGMs has been fired off already. I have 11 left, but it doesn't get reloaded. You need to reload 2 of them. I had a Mexican standoff with this BMP2 for quite a while, and now I want to also show how to use those offset ATGMs, how to hopefully use them to your advantage. But we get rudely interrupted by a German Flakpanzer 341, formerly known as the Coelian, and we finish him off with style. Now I have to go through the reload, because now both ATGMs get reloaded, and he uses this chance. Normally there should be a second one in there. And now it is all about mind games, positioning, and I tried to trick him here in firing the ATGM. Not sure if I could have used it, because his rate of fire on the main gun is so much more impressive. I move forward, then I fire around the corner and hull break him. It is called an ammunition explosion, but it should have not mattered anyway. So this is how to win this kind of engagement. Then there is the next scene, and this is the dream, and again it is versus BMP2s. And the first one gets ignited, and then there is the second one, a fire, and there you can see you have an okayish rate of fire. The main gun doesn't really disappoint you, but here I just couldn't figure out where the enemy tank was, and the dust didn't clear, but still it was a nice scene. Then there is the camping situation, and there is the object 120, and that was fancy. So the ATGMs, when you have them available, work fine. So that's not the problem. And then we get attacked by a plane. We get a critical hit him. And then we follow it up. Good turret rotation speed. And then we get the kill. We cut his tail clean off. Good stuff right there. And then that was also a plane kill. Please look at the distance. How nice the APDS actually is. Critical hit. Wing falls off. So you actually have here 3 APDS and 1 HE, but I'm quite sure I hit him here with the APDS round, but that was still enough. Those were, funny enough, the only plane kills, because you have a maximum gun elevation of 59 degrees. So now let's get back to this situation, and don't argue with me that I should not have gotten into this situation in the first place, but it just demonstrates perfectly what's going on. And so I dropped an artillery strike on the enemy's capture zone. Then I come around the corner, and you can see I cannot use the ATGMs. They are glued to the side. There is the enemy. Now I stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 seconds before I could use the ATGM. If he would not have misfired, he would have killed me. And if you are too late in braking for just a split second, that's it. You don't deploy the ATGMs in time. That's it. And then they are on the left side of the vehicle. Now I can't use them again. But I had to finish here the object 906 off, okay? So that was nice. The gun is not the problem, but the ATGMs. And you also need to force always the reload with sometimes firing off 1. Again, this is highly aggressive gameplay, but I need to test the vehicle, and sometimes you come across such very nice gameplay scenes where you just can demonstrate the issue. Then we have the Italian wheel tank, and obviously, yeah, aim for the turret where the crew is. There we go. And now we can cap. So this is a massive, massive problem, and none of the other ATGM carriers in the game actually has this issue as far as I'm aware. Especially none of the infantry fighting vehicles. Not just is it a problem that you need to go under a certain speed, but then you need so long to deploy the missile launchers, the ATGMs, to use them. And that is mostly deadly. So this is, from a gameplay standpoint, absolutely horrible. I understand that historically the movement of the vehicle, the ups and downs, just shaking the launcher to death basically, and for safety reasons or to the system not get broken, they had to do it. But I cannot imagine that all the other infantry fighting vehicles didn't have this problem up to their top speed, where you still can use those ATGMs. So it's an inconsistency, at least it feels like this. Now let's have a look at the mobility. And there I made a stupid stop to write something. Yeah, he annoyed me here with his shooting, trying to get faster. Now look at the speed, 40 kilometers per hour on sand. And then we constantly accelerate like with a rubber band. And this is really strange, because the initial acceleration doesn't feel like you are able to reach this speed and exceed it. Here we go, a little bit downhill, but we do not just hold the speed, but we further accelerate to the top speed on sand. Alright. Yeah, here I expected some ATGM to hit me, but it hit the stone or the rock in front of me. Then some test firing. There you can see the nice stabilizer. And he's actually alive. Ui, 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 ui. And so we killed the BMP-2. That was really, really important. And with style, we kind of drift here into the capture zone and just repair. And cap. So the greater plan now is to just repair, to have the smoke for covering me, and then after I captured, I launch again and then fill up all 2 smoke launchers. This is something that I do very often, because then in battle you have them. So overall you have 8 smoke rounds or smoke grenades, and they launch by 2 times 4. Sometimes that doesn't really work, and you only have like 3 left for some bizarre reason. I don't know what's going on. But then you can't use those 3. So that's very strange as well. And then you have to stay in the cap and reload them. But then you only reload up to 7. So that's maybe, I guess it's a bug. That's my best guess. But oh well, it happens, I guess. There is so much wrong that this is just effectively one of many details. However, there is again this problem, this Raketenjagdpanzer. I do not dare... Yeah, I scouted him and he is effectively dead, so... should not have shot him. But the helicopter now on my team is providing me with very important intelligence, because there are some tanks shooting at him, and so I can roughly determine their position. And I want to scout them, I want to kill them, obviously, to not just secure C, but I also want to look, can I do something about B? Okay. And can I support a fight around A? And there is one location on this map that is, again, based on this asymmetrical map design. And this is this valley. And this is a bit like Kursk again, where it looks like being completely in the open, but in fact you are in hard cover. And there I could see a massive dust cloud. And it's the first customer of the day, namely this IS-4. Now I want to demonstrate here the following. He has a gun barrel with a muzzle brake, and so you can easily hit it and disable it. He never had a chance, and a single ATGM where he had all the time in the world to deploy the ATGM launcher did the job. So that was relatively efficient. Yes, he already was not aware of me, and yes, the gun barrel was raised up in the air, and with the slow gun handling of the Russian heavies at this battle rating, I still could have stood in front of him for quite a while. Nevertheless, I advance up here and I tried to go here into hard cover, but this map is really tricky. Now I don't see that ZSU-57-2 directly here, but the search beam of the scouting ability also goes through sand, rocks, trees, houses even, and that makes it so useful. Now I know exactly where he is. I can orientate myself with the constant pinging on the minimap. I know what his intentions are, and so I think now it's safe to go over the open into then this one location. And you can see the 3 black dots on the south that I'm heading towards. That is also on the other side, so this is symmetrical, but the valley that I just was in is not reflected on the other side of the map. And so I'm now in hard cover from the ZSU-57-2, and there I just can scout here this heavy tank, so that is nice. This heavy tank actually will cause my death, so spoiler alert. Now what can I do about that ZSU-57-2? Waste an ATGM? No, no, no. We can get him the easy way. A few APDS, sorry, through the turret. What is with this Leopard? And again, yeah, we scout him. It took a while till we could deploy. And then an easy one-shot. Actually a simple crew knockout. So that was great. Then we scout here this other tank as well. It's this time a different heavy tank, I guess. I could be wrong though, not quite sure. And yeah, just when I was gone, the Conqueror confirmed that he's in trouble. Seems like he is disabled or something like this. And now we come into a very problematic situation. Guys, is this spawn camping? Yeah, he's barely out of the spawn. But I do not immediately attack him, but I scouted him. So this is, again, arguably a problem here with the spawn locations and also the map design, that once you are behind enemy lines, you're effectively spawn camping. And I'm sorry, and a lot of people are saying, this is unfair, and I completely agree. But there is no other position on this map that is not directly obvious that I can use and provides me with hard cover. So the RE-251 just didn't want to die. I didn't want to take any risk here, so I used the ATGM. Good stuff right there. A last look here at the enemy spawn, if you can scout something again. No, doesn't look like it. So I have to be aware of now, after 6 kills, that somebody's coming in for the revenge kill. So even the reverse gear and the ATGMs were not available. So do you remember this heavy tank that was seemingly going for C? I didn't see a combat message that he was killed. So I was like, okay, I have to turn around or hide and do something about it. Oh, hello there. And that is a Panther too. So that is definitely not spawn camping anymore. We disable him, hitting the transmission. This is so funny. And we detract both his tracks. So the turret is now empty. Let's aim a little bit to the front. And there we go. That's my 7th kill right there. Now I need to reload the ATGMs, but by now they are already both reloaded. And I want to turn. Now, currently, yeah, and there it is, the kill message. The IS-4 just deleted another tank of our team. So C is in danger of being taken by this IS-4. And I'm now used to my team to only rack up here some kills, but, you know, not caring about the caps. So I go out and I think to myself, is there somebody going for me? Nah. Okay, let's head for the valley again. And then just when I thought, oh, that's good. Yeah, Koelian happened. No, Kugelblitz, sorry. Okay. And that was my most successful battle. There were at least one kill that I understand if somebody calls it spawn camping. But believe me, overall, those were some of the best scenes that I could accomplish with this tank. If I had been in the Warrior or the BMP2 in multiple of the very same situations, I would have done better. Maybe not in the very specific ones in that one, but in general I died way too often because I didn't have an ATGM, because I run into something that is also very fast, such as the Centauros or the AMX-10 even, and they just, well, they could hull break me with the HeatFS or disable me, and that was just not really a nice experience to not be able to do the same to them in retaliation, to at least take them with me. So there is this problem because they can actually tank some of the APDS rounds, and yeah, that is just down to the over-realism. If Gaijin really wants to keep it that way with the ATGMs having to be deployed first, which takes 7 seconds again, then yeah, at least make some penalty for the other ATGM carriers at higher speeds as well, because it's just not fair. And again, to just counter the upcoming argument, oh, this is fine because Abrams at 10.0 or XM1 at 9.0. Every single vehicle should be in a competitive place where it is not overpowered. And just because some tanks might overperform at battle rating XYZ doesn't allow you to nerf something else into the ground that is at battle rating ABC. That's my final opinion. Also, I don't want any nation to get punished for some weird reason, and yeah, if we have that we need to have the same level of realism for each and every single vehicle in the game. And I cannot imagine a BMP2 being able to fire the ATGM at full speed. So to punish this tank for realism purposes, I'm not quite sure. Okay. Nevertheless, let me know your opinion in the comment section. Feel free to have a nice discussion with me. This is something that I'm generally interested in your opinion. I personally, as a subjective opinion, think that it is weird with this tank. And that's the best that I can say about this tank. But it's not helpless, as you could see. And if you get used to it, you can refine the tactics, of course. But from the start, it is really rough. Okay, finally, that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.